Go for it.
All right, so last night at work, I was standing there in the ER, right? And the EMS radio goes off. And they were bringing some guy in who he tried to overdose on melatonin, okay?
That's a thing.
Wait, melatonin?
Melatonin. Yeah. He took 90 tablets, 5 milligram melatonins, and 20 10 milligram melatonin.
He's going to have a bad time.
So, you want to know what his chief complaint was?
What?
He was sleepy.
Yeah.
It's like, no shit.
Really?
It's like, that's a wild thought. Let me try to OD on melatonin. Oh, hey, guys, I'm sleepy. You know, I know nothing matters after 40 milligrams, but, you know, fucking...
I mean, at that point, like, what does that do to your body?
Fuck, ask Don. I'm not a paramedic.
Don?
I'm still reveling in the lunacy of this. You're gonna have some wild dreams, is what you're gonna have.
Ain't that stuff also like expensive?
Yes.
No. Well,
here it is.
I mean, it's a supplement, right? You get it in your vitamin section.
Yeah, supplements are like notoriously expensive because they're just like sucker magnets.
Yeah, think about this: 90 5 milligram tablets and 20 10 milligram tablets. That's a lot of tablets. That's a lot of money. Bro took it once.
I mean, in fact, I would feel full after that as well. That's like a meal.
On God.
Was it the gummies or was it just the horse tablets?
I'm not sure. I walked out of the ER laughing. I was like, he's not going to be a problem.
That's only,
give him 10 minutes, he'll be fine.
It's only about $40 worth of melatonin here.
That's literally, you can go to a nice restaurant for $40, but bro chose melatonin instead.
I really want it to be the gummy ones because then all I can picture is him with a fucking cereal bowl full of melatonin gummies, just like eating them like cereal. Oh, we're going to hell, aren't we?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is what it is.
At least we'll be warm.
Right. We get to talk to all the cool people too, so it's okay.
Yeah, that's true. Right. Shall we actually start this thing?
Send it, brother.
Well, you are listening to the Micro Machines podcast. This week we are going to be talking all about the Avro Lancaster, possibly one of the most famous British aircraft to turn out of World War II. But before we do that, we have some introductions to do. So, to start off with, you have me, Callum, from New Zealand. I would be sitting here with a coffee, except I gambled on the last of the milk, and boy, did I lose. Cup of coffee suddenly became a cup of coffee-flavored cottage cheese. Things might get interesting later.
Bless your heart, my guy.
Bless my fucking colon, mate.
on God, dude. Well, you got me, Garrison, out here in Kansas, drinking my, good coffee with fresh milk and maple syrup. I'm a Canadian at heart. Thanks, Don. And building FC-17.
You got me, Clint, in Indiana, and I am finishing up my Sunjoy from Chick-fil-A.
Oh, fancy.
Finishing up your what?
Sunjoy.
The hell is a Sunjoy?
It's
Clint, educate this man.
It's what Chick-fil-A calls an Arnold Palmer.
It sounded like a friggin' marijuana strain or something.
Hey, don't hate on what Chick-fil-A does in their spare time, okay?
There you go. And I managed to drag myself out of my garbage bin. It's your favorite people-handed mammal, Trash Panda, also known as Don, coming to you live from Canada. And we're into the Scotch tonight, so let's see how this goes.
Ooh, nice. I would have joined in a Scotch, except I finished it the other night. My dad turned up with a bottle of, well, it wasn't Scotch, it was whiskey, which he got for $30, a half litre. It was a 3-year-old. hence why it was so cheap. A 3-year-old whiskey, and I looked at it, and it's made in Europe. Didn't specify a country, just said made in Europe. 3-year-old whiskey made in Europe. No wonder it was $10.
I got a bet on where that was made.
I gotta say though, it was actually all right.
Would it have doubled as paint thinner?
No, it was actually all right. I didn't mind it. Then again, I am very cheap and easy, so you know.
I can testify to this.
Was it actually vodka?
No, it did taste like whiskey, just not like a heavy, not a strong one, just on the lighter side, because 3 years old.
Yeah, that's the barest minimum of what can legally be called whiskey in this country.
Right.
I don't think you could legally call it whiskey. It was just whiskey flavored alcohol at that point. All right, so
Hit it.
this week we are talking all about the Avro Lancaster. Definitely a very famous British bomber. But first, if you're going to talk about the Lancaster and its history, unfortunately, you have to talk about the Manchester. Possibly one of the worst aircraft ever. No, not the worst aircraft ever has made. They have made some shocking ones. However, the Manchester was particularly bad for a number of reasons we're going to go over. Also, another thing, this is not the first aircraft Avro have called the Manchester. After the First World War, there was a bomber that they called the Manchester as well, and guess what? It was
also a lemon.
It was an absolute failure. Long story short, do not call your aircraft the Manchester. It is a cursed name, and as you can see by the looks of the Manchester, it is a very cursed-looking Lancaster because it's the prequel basically. But the Manchester had to turn up for something. So, what was the Manchester supposed to replace? The Manchester bomber originated from a design by Avro to meet the British Air Ministry specification P.13/36, issued in May 1936. Funny that. This specification called for a twin-engine monoplane medium bomber suitable for worldwide operations, capable of conducting shallow dive bombing attacks and carrying heavy bomb loads, up to 8,000 pounds or 2 18-inch torpedoes. Initially, the design included provisions for catapult-assisted takeoffs to maximize payload, although this requirement was removed in July 1938. The bomber was expected to cruise at a minimum speed of 275 miles an hour at 15,000 feet. Avro began work on the design even before receiving a formal invitation to tender, competing with firms like Boulton Paul, Bristol, Fairey, Handley Page, and Shorts. Vickers also considered entering with its Warwick, powered by Napier Sabre engines, but ultimately opted out. In early 1937, both Avro's and Handley Page's designs were accepted and prototypes were ordered. However, in mid-1937, the Air Ministry expedited the process due to the anticipated expansion of the RAF in response to the looming threat of war in Europe. By 1939, the Manchester was set to replace existing medium bombers like the Whitley, Hampton, and Wellington. And as you can see here, we have all three of those, the Vickers Wellington, the Handley Page Hampton, and the Armstrong Whitworth Whitley. Of course, the Wellington was never really fully replaced because it is one of the few aircraft that was produced before, during, and after the war. The Wellington is definitely one of those designs of doing it right first time. And it's also just a really good aircraft. Nearly impossible to shoot down. The Hampton eventually was replaced into a sort of training role because fun fact about the Hampton, guess how wide the fuselage was on a Hampton?
3.5 feet.
Damn it, I was wondering if someone who didn't know would answer, but
Oh.
yeah. They called it the flying briefcase because it was only 3.5 feet wide. Like, a bit narrow. Fun fact about the Whitley down in the bottom left corner. You see how it's angled like that? Would you believe that is a Whitley flying straight and level?
Oh my god.
That is the angle of attack a Whitley would fly straight. Because of the design of the wings and engine placement and everything, that is them flying at a level flight. Looks stupid, doesn't it?
Imagine
That
flying
fucking
that
tail.
bitch on shrooms.
The Armstrong Whitley, of course, was famous for being a terrible bomber. However, was used for parachuting in troops and glider towing and stuff like that. For troop deployment, what they did was instead of putting a side door in or something like that, they just removed the tail turret and just put a door there. And basically, you crawl through the fuselage, open the door, and then just jump straight out the tail, which they did have a few problems with, funnily enough, with buffering when they would when they would jump. But these were what they were supposed to be replaced. Ultimately, all of these were used well into late stages of the war anyway, so were they actually replaced at all? I don't think so. So, the disappointing start to a legacy. The Avro design incorporated the Rolls-Royce Vulture 24-cylinder X-block engine, which consisted of two vertically stacked Rolls-Royce Peregrine V-cylinder blocks, with the lower block inverted to form the X shape. Initially promising in 1935, the Vulture engine was rated at 1,760 horsepower, but proved unreliable and was later derated to between 1,480 and 1,500 horsepower. The prototype Manchester L7246 was built by Avro's experimental team at Ridgeway Airport in Manchester, making its maiden flight on the 25th of July 1939, followed by a second aircraft on the 26th of May 1940. Notably, Avro chose the Vulture engine independently, contrary to some claims that it was specified by the Air Ministry. Other options included two Bristol Hercules or Bristol Centaurus radial engines. I think two engines they probably should have gone with, not with these engines. Initially designed with a twin tail, the first production model, the Mark I, had a central fin added, resulting in 20 units being built. This was followed by the Mark I-A, which reverted to the twin fin design, but featured larger fins and rudders mounted on a new tailplane, increasing the wingspan from 22 foot to 33 feet. This tail configuration was later adopted by the Lancaster, with the exception of the first prototype, which was a converted, unfinished Manchester, which also featured a central fin. In total, Avro produced 177 Manchesters, while Metropolitan Vickers completed 32. Plans for Armstrong Whitworth and Ferry Aviation to manufacture the Manchester at Ringway were scrapped, and Ferry's order for 150 Manchesters was replaced by orders for the Halifax. I gotta say, the Manchester with the three tails looks cursed as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
There's a bit of like Uncanny Valley with the Manchester, which is why I love it.
It's one of them aircraft that looks like either way it could fly.
Yeah.
Like it looks like it could fly fucking backwards.
Funnily enough, these Vulture engines were actually more powerful than the Merlins of the time, but they were just shit.
Yeah, they just like to burst into flames.
Yeah, as we're going to talk about. The plane that struggled to fly. Funny that, on the 5th of August...
I read this story.
Where have we heard this one? On the 5th of August 1940, the first production Avro Manchester L7276 was delivered to RAF Bascom Down for service acceptance trials. The Manchester officially entered service with the newly reformed No. 207 Squadron of RAF Bomber Command in 1940, passing all acceptance tests by 21 December that year. By the end of 1940, 207 Squadron had at least 8 Manchesters in operation. The aircraft's first operational mission took place on the 24th and 25th of February 1941 during a raid on the French port of Brest. However, on 13th of March 1941, L7319 became the first Manchester to be shot down by enemy fire. On 13th of April 1941, all Manchesters were temporarily grounded due to an unexpected number of engine bearing failures, something that I'm sure Clint can attain is not a good thing.
No, definitely not.
A second grounding occurred on the 16th of June 1941 following additional engine issues, the unreliability of the Vulture engine forced squadrons to rely on outdated bombers like the Hampton. When operations resumed in August 1941, further problems emerged, including excessive tail flutter, hydraulic failures, and faulty propeller feathering controls. Production of the Manchester was halted in November 1941 with a total of 202 aircraft completed. Throughout its service, the Manchester equipped 8 bomber squadrons and also served in 2 additional squadrons, including units within RAF Coastal Command. Avro made modifications to the Manchester bomber to address technical issues, but Bomber Command struggled to maintain significant aircraft for large missions. For example, on the 7th of November 1941. Only 15 of over 400 bombers sent to Berlin were Manchesters. Similarly, during the first 1,000 bomber raid on Cologne, 35 Manchesters participated. The Mark III Manchester, BT-308, which first flew on the 9th of January 1941, essentially became the prototype for the Lancaster, featuring a longer wing and 4 Rolls-Royce Merlin engines. A total of 193 operational Manchesters completed 1,269 sorties, dropping 1,826 tons of bombs and losing 78 aircraft in action. The last operation took place on the 25th of June 1942, after which the Manchester was withdrawn from service in favour of more capable aircraft, like anything. It continued to be used as a trainer for Lancaster crews until its requirement in 1943. One thing
78 out of 193. I mean, that's a high fucking ratio right there.
That's
getting into like Brewster Buffalo territory.
Right?
They should have nicknamed this thing the Penguin.
Yeah, like, the funny thing, like, the more you learn about aircraft in World War II, and especially like the lesser known ones, I always thought the Manchester was like used a couple times and then no, it was shit. In reality, they always make way more than you think, used longer than you think. Like Manchester, I didn't know they made that many. I thought it was just shit from the outright, but.
Well, no, this is the classic example of, well, we've already tooled everything up, right? It's the same problem with like getting the 17-pounder into service. It's going to take too long to retool it, so we're just going to keep making 6-pounders.
I mean, the 6-pounder wasn't an all right gun.
No, it was fine, but the 17-pounder was better.
Yeah.
They try to use this thing as a dive bomber as well.
Well, shallow dive. I mean, what constitutes a shallow dive? I mean, it could be like 4 degrees.
Right.
So, if you want to build an Avro Manchester, you have 3 options, 2 of them being the same company. So, Planet Models from the Czech Republic have both toolings for the Mark 1 and the Mark 1A in 72nd scale. I have looked into these just to see what they're actually like, and they don't look too bad at all, but definitely it will be one of those short run, and they are resin kits as well. So, yeah. Otherwise, if you want to go vintage, you got the vintage Airfix Avro Manchester, which there's a lot of issues I have with the box art they have. Namely, it doesn't have a dorsal turret. They're supposed to have. You can see on the other box arts they got this very prominent. I think it's a
Fraser Nash.
Fraser Nash used same one used on the Sterling and the Sunderland. It's missing on the FX one, so I don't know.
That won't be the only thing missing from that kit, though. So really,
yeah, that is true.
It's one less fit problem to worry about.
Yeah, it says new tool from like it is in 48 scale as well. So I gotta say though, I wouldn't mind a model of the Manchester just because it's just so weird.
Yeah, it is weird.
So moving on from the Manchester, Avro get it right. By mid-1940, Avro's chief design engineer, Roy Chadwick, was developing an upgraded version of the Manchester powered by 4 more reliable, a bit less powerful, Rolls-Royce Merlin engines. This new design utilized the power egg installation originally created for the Beaufighter II and featured a wing with increased span. Initially designated as the Type 683 Manchester III, the aircraft was later renamed the Lancaster. The prototype, serial number BT-308, was constructed by Avro's experimental flight department at Ringway Airport, Manchester, modifying a production Manchester airframe to accommodate the new wing and engines. Test pilot H.A. Sam Brown conducted the first flight on 9th January 1941 at RAF Ringway in Cheshire. Flight testing of the new aircraft quickly demonstrated it to be a significant improvement over the Manchester. The first prototype retained the Manchester 1's 3-fin tail, but this was replaced on the second prototype DG595 with a larger elliptical twin fins tail, which also adopted for the last Manchesters produced. This changed enhanced stability and improved the field of fire for the dorsal gun turret. It means he doesn't have to worry about 3 bloody tails to get in the way. The second prototype was also equipped with the more powerful Merlin 20 engines. Manchesters still in production were converted into Lancaster B1s based on its performance and early design. Decision was made to rapidly re-equip twin-engine bomber squadrons with the Lancaster. The first production Lancaster, L7527, took to the skies on October 1941, powered by Merlin 20s. And I gotta say, prototype Lancaster is definitely on the cursed side.
That's so wrong.
It's so wrong, but at the same time, I again would happily, if I could afford it, I would convert a Lancaster into the prototype one just for the lol.
Oh, and speaking of cursed, is that like
That is a rock.
Skua?
That
Oh,
is
it's
a
a rock.
Blackburn
I was going to
rock.
say, is it a Skua? But same but different.
No, it's the even worse rock, which, the skewer is bad enough. The rock is like, it's little brother with downs.
Now, don't hate on him. He's doing his best.
Oh yeah, they tried. It was part of like the Bolton Bull Defiant and the Blackburn Rock was the turreted fighter, which was like, oh yeah, let's put this fucking 1-ton turret in the back, and you can't shoot from the front. That's totally gonna work.
Oh, of course.
It's like what do you do in a dogfight? Become a target.
We're the distraction team.
So the Avro Lancaster B1 and 3. Put these two together because you're going to find out. The Lancaster B1 remained in production until February 1946 and was never fully replaced by a successor model. According to aviation authors Brian Goulding and M. Garbett, what a dumb name. Fucking
Wow.
Garbett.
Damn.
What's your name? Mr. Garbett.
Somebody's upset.
The Lancaster B1 underwent few changes during its production run, primarily due to its strong fundamental design. Visible modifications included the removal of the fuselage side windows, an enlarged perspex chin for the bomb aimer, and a larger astrodome. Additional bumps and blisters were added to accommodate radar and navigation equipment, and some bombers featured bulged bomb bay doors to carry heavier payloads. Earlier production models included a ventral gun turret, but feedback indicated it was often unnecessary, leading many aircraft to have this turret removed over time. While some squadrons opted to eliminate it entirely, others conducted various trials at RAF Duxford and within their units. Notably, 50 Austin-built Lancaster B1s were produced with a non-standard configuration that placed a Fraser Nash turret above the bomb bay. Though this modification was generally unpopular due to obstructing crew movement. Excuse me.
Now, pause
Yep.
there. Do we get into the crew movement issue in this aircraft at any point?
If you want to go through it, you are more than welcome to.
Oh God. Okay, so for anyone who can't picture what the inside of a Lancaster looks like, on the outside, great big behemoth airplane. On the inside, tiny little companionway that runs from just aft the cockpit back to the dorsal turret and tail. What you don't see is that there is a giant spar that connects the wings through the middle of the fuselage. So anytime that you needed to get to the tail, or more importantly, escape from the tail when the plane is on fire, you had to climb over this giant piece of ironmongery to get to all of the escape hatches. So
That's awesome.
crew movement back and forth is already an absolute nightmare in this airplane, and I can completely understand why sticking another turret in the way would have been a non-starter.
Yeah. I mean, have you ever been inside a Lancaster?
I have, yes.
Yeah, same here. I went through one when I was 8, and even short little me at 8 years old struggled to get through it.
Yeah, I
How
don't.
tall were you when you were 8?
Pardon?
How tall were you when you were 8?
I was short. I used to be like the shortest, and then I just had a massive growth spurt, but I used to be real short.
So you was like Garrison size then at 8?
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out here, man. Like, how short are we talking, bro? Because like, I'm fucking short.
Probably like, I don't know, 5 foot.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Garrison size then.
Yeah.
Fucker. Put some
G-Man could
respect.
crew a Lancaster, no problem.
No, I'm 5'7". Okay. Jesus.
So, the Lancaster B3, powered by Packard Merlin engines manufactured in the US, was otherwise identical to the B1. A total of 3,030 B3s were built, mostly at Avro's Newton Heath factory. The B1 and B3 were manufactured simultaneously, with minor modifications made to both models, as additional batches were ordered. The two designations were effectively interchangeable, with engine changes being the primary distinction. Modifications included relocating the pintle head from the nose to the side of the cockpit and switching from de Havilland needle blade propellers to paddle blade propellers from Hamilton Standard or Nash Calvinator. So really, fuck all between them.
Mhm.
Fuck. There we go.
Someone chopping carrots?
Sounded like it.
Yeah, that's what it sounded like.
Yeah. Anyway, if you are looking to build a B1 or a B3, you do have quite a few options. Of course, if you want to go to the old school original, you have the Airfix Lancaster B3, which I think I built this when I was like 13. Pretty good kit, I gotta say. If you want to hate yourself, you have in 72nd the Revell Mark 1 or Mark 3. If you want to upgrade to 48 scale, you have the HK Models Mark 1 and the Tamiya Mark 1 or Mark 3. And if you want to go super size, of course, you have the formerly Winged Up Wings, now Border Models, 32nd scale, Mark 1 or Mark 3, full interior Lancaster, which is an amazing kit. Someone at my model club brought one in that he bought for $45 online.
Are you serious?
But that's because the wings and fuselage had already been put together. So,
I don't care. That's
yeah, but he still got it for 40. I was like, fuck, I would have bought it for that. Like, have you seen one of these things built up in real life? The 30
so. I watched a guy last year at Heritage Con, basically building it as a demonstration, and it's unthinkably big.
I know. It's
It's insane.
You could beat a judge to death with the amount of plastic it is in it.
Yes.
It's a nice idea in theory, but then it's one of those, you'll build it up, you'll have fun building it, and then you go, where the fuck am I going to put this?
It's Clint, you'll like this. It's probably the equivalent of the UCS Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, it's going to be huge.
Yeah, it's like a the wingspan is like a meter.
Yeah.
Or what's that in American? 3 foot?
Yeah,
36 and a half cheeseburgers.
Now, doesn't Border sell just the cockpit section too
Yes.
as well?
Yeah, they do. It's like the hyper detailed one with the really stupid box art. Like the box art on that kit. The more you look into it, the
Oh my god,
more mistakes you find.
It's like it was made with AI.
Yeah, but like that Airfix bloody ad. You guys saw that one there with the Hurry Spitfire Mark 10 to 20.
Mark 12. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that thing was. Someone should have been fired for that one. You hope. All right, so we'll talk about the one and the Mark 1 and the Mark 3, but clearly there should have been a Mark 2. And there is. This fucking cursed looking thing. The Avro Lancaster. Pardon?
That's radials on it?
Yes.
Yes.
So the B2, the Bristol Hercules powered variant with Hercules 6 or 16s, saw the production of 300 units by Armstrong Whitworth. A key distinction between the two engine types was that the 6 featured manual mixture control, necessitating an additional lever for the throttle pedestal. Early models were equipped with an FN64 ventral turret, but these were soon removed due to aiming difficulties caused by the turret's periscope, which limited the gunner's ability to see targets not already in line of sight, as well as issues with traverse speed. And same as the B-25, you're looking at a periscope essentially upside down. People got airsick because you could only imagine what that's like. In response to the Luftwaffe's Clint, how do you pronounce this again?
It's English should be jazz music.
All right. In response to the Luftwaffe's jazz music attacks, various unofficial field modifications were made, including the installation of 20mm cannons or 50-inch machine guns,
50
.50-inch machine,
calibers.
50 cals, in the opening left by the turret. An official modification, Mod 925, was later authorized to fit a 303 machine gun because, of course, when it's official, it becomes a fucking 303, not a 20mm or a 50 cal, in the same spot, although it wasn't implemented on all aircraft. These modifications were rarely adopted due to other variants due to the presence of H2S radar, which typically occupied that space. However, the B2 variant's bulged bomb bay complicated radar installation, leaving the opening clear. The B2 featured three types of bulged bomb bays. The prototype had a narrow bulge extending from just behind the cockpit to the turret. Early production models showcased a full width bulge at the same length, and late production variants had bomb bay doors that bulged prominently along their entire length, aka Garrison's favorite.
It's funny. We was thinking the same thing there.
Yeah. And you can actually kind of see that in especially in the lower photo. You can just see the bomb bay there. It looks weird.
Getting me hot and bothered over here.
I do not like the B2. A Lancaster with radials is weird.
What the
However,
hell?
that was Clint's phone.
Clint's being summoned, okay?
I love how you can pick that up over the mic. So, if you want to be different, you can build a B2. The only kit there is of course Airfix, and Airfix are going to feature prominently in this list because, I mean, if a British company didn't build Airfix Lancaster kits, are they British?
No, they'd have their T license revoked.
They'd have to move to Boston for that.
Ooh.
Zing.
Yeah. Moving on to all these specials. Of course, the Lancaster was also famous for some very cool things. The first one, the Avro Lancaster B3 Special. Referred to as the Type 464 provisioning, Lancaster, during its modification, 23 aircraft were built to deploy the upkeep bouncing bomb for the dam-busting raids. At Woodford Aerodrome near Stock Point, workers laboured day and night to remove the bomb bay doors and replace them with Vickers-built struts designed to carry the bomb. A hydraulic motor, repurposed from the mid-upper turret pump, was installed to spin the bomb. Additionally, lamps were placed in the bomb bay and nose to support a simple height measuring system, enabling precise control of low flying altitudes at night. To reduce weight, the mid-upper turret was removed and the gunner was repositioned to the front turret, allowing the bomb aimer to focus on map reading instead of manning the front guns. Funnily enough, the actual aiming for the bouncing bomb consisted of the two lights, right, pointed down at angles, so when they met on the water, you're at the right height. And then for distance, the bomb aimer literally had this fucking wooden V with 2 points on it, and those were the were they the guard towers or they were the pump rooms?
Yeah. The towers on the dams.
Yeah, so the towers, and literally he was using that, and when they lined up, then they dropped the bomb. Talk about like the most rudimentary fucking system in the world, but it worked.
About to say, but did it work?
Yeah, it worked perfectly.
Splendid.
As we're about to talk about.
Mass produce it.
Operation Chastise. Chastise? Yeah,
Chastise.
AKA the Dam Busters. There is one little key element to the raid that we're not going to talk about, and that is the call sign for a successful operation. We're just going to glaze over that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that involves a word that we shouldn't be saying.
Different times.
Yeah, very, very different times. Operation Chastise, commonly known as the Dam Busters Raid, was a nighttime assault on German dams conducted by 617 Squadron of RAF Bomber Command on the 16th to 17th May 1943. This mission, which later earned the squadron the nickname Dam Busters, utilized innovative bouncing bombs designed by Barnes Wallace. The raid successfully breached the Mon and Edersee dams, leading to devastating flooding in the Ruhr Valley and surrounding villages in the Eder Valley, while the dam suffered only minor damage. The attack destroyed 2 hydroelectric power stations and caused significant damage to several others, as well as to factories and mines. Tragically, an estimated 1,600 civilians, about 600 Germans and 1,000 enslaved laborers, predominantly from the Soviet Union, lost their lives due to the flooding. Although the Germans made swift repairs, normal production levels were not restored until September. The RAF experienced significant losses, with 56 aircrew members, 53 dead and 3 captured, and 8 aircraft lost during the operation.
So not actually a very good operation to begin with.
Well, I mean, it kind of proves to the Germans that the British can do stuff like that, and so it kind of makes it. What it does is it does draw resources away from, say, the front line to better protect stuff like dams and stuff like that, because suddenly the British have shown the Germans they can do it, so the Germans have to be more aware of it. So, little column A, little column B.
All right.
There's actually a pretty good miniseries documentary that came out back in 2020 called The Dam Busters. Dan Snow is the host. Take him for what you will, as in terms of historical TV presenters go. But I remember watching it. It was actually very well done, and they go into a lot of detail on the development of the bomb and some of the initial designs and stuff, and the actual physics that go into how they actually work. It was actually quite interesting.
Yeah,
so if you can find it, go watch it.
I think my favorite
I'll
part
look
of
it up.
I think my favorite part of the bouncing bomb was it was designed by Barnes Wallis, and when he was putting forward the design, he wanted to test the idea, so he needed an aircraft. He was talking to the ministry, and he says, "So I want to use a Vickers Wellington bomber to test out this concept." And the minister goes, "Well, how are you going to, with how the war's going, supplies and demand and all of that, how are you going to convince Vickers to lend you a Wellington bomber?" And Barnes Wallis just replied, "Well, you could tell them I designed it, and that's how he got a Wellington to test it with, because he was literally the guy who made it." It's like, what, you're going to tell me I can't use my own invention?
It's like,
He
bitch,
is
I have the
absolutely-
original blueprints.
Yeah.
He is an absolutely fantastic and fascinating character all on his own.
Oh yeah, and don't worry, we're going to get to him in a little bit.
Oh, good.
First, if you want to build a dam buster, you are more than welcome to. We have 2 from Airfix with their B3 specials in 72nd, as well as one from Hasegawa. In 48 scale, we have HK models with their dam buster, and in 32nd, of course, you have the border models. Funnily enough, this box art, when I was researching, was going to be used for the Wingnut wings. All they did was just change the brand on it from Wingnut to Border when Wingnut, collapsed and Border took over.
Which is why the box art on this one makes sense.
Yeah, and looks cool as well.
It does.
Up next, we have the Avro Lancaster B1 special. Now, these are for the Tall Boy and the Grand Slam earthquake bombs. So, 32 aircraft were modified to carry the super heavy Tall Boy and Grand Slam bombs. Upgraded engines with paddle bladed propellers and provided increased power, while the removal of gun turrets reduced weight and improved aerodynamics. For the Tall Boy, the bomb bay doors were bulged. For the Grand Slam, they were entirely removed, and the area was streamlined. In some Tall Boy missions, the mid-upper turret was also removed, a change that was maintained for the Grand Slam aircraft, which later had the nose turret removed as well. Two airframes, HK541 and SW244, were fitted with a dorsal saddle tank that held 1,200 imperial gallons, mounted behind a modified canopy to extend range. Number 1577 SD flight tested these modifications in India and Australia in 1945 for potential use in the Pacific. However, the tank negatively impacted handling when full, leading to the adoption of early in-flight refueling method developed in the late 1930s for commercial flying boats instead. Could you imagine, how easy what would happen in, say, Tarawa or later if they had used a couple of fucking Grand Slam on Japanese insufficient, say, oh,
Bro.
you guys are hiding underground? Not for long. Fun fact about the Tall Boy, it's most famous for the sinking of Tirpitz. The Grand Slam was, of course, double the size and weight of a Tall Boy. I've got a great book about 617 Squadron, and there was an account of a bomb aimer when they dropped a Grand Slam. Now, when they took off, you can see photos, the wings bending upwards just from the weight when it's in flight. When they dropped the bomb, the weight change meant that the aircraft rose about 500 foot in the air, just straight away, just went straight up.
Jesus.
The bomb aimer said when he first released it, he was suddenly pinned to the ground for a couple seconds while the aircraft suddenly just fucking spring-loaded itself up in altitude. He said it was very disconcerting. Which, it's like,
Imagine.
can you imagine how? Could you imagine though, with that the lack of weight suddenly gone, how fast they would fly?
Doing.
So a little bit about the Tall Boy and Grand Slam. And you can see just how fucking massive these are. Bottom left is a Tall Boy. Top right is the Grand Slam. So, in his 1941 paper, a note on a method of attacking the Axis powers, I swear he could have just abbreviated that to something smaller.
Bombs the Germans.
Yeah, probably. Could have been fuck around, find out. Wallace proposed using a 10-ton bomb designed to explode deep underground, leveraging the shock waves that travel more effectively through the ground than through air. He envisioned the Victory Bomber, a 50-ton aircraft capable of flying at 320 miles an hour and reaching 4,000 feet to deliver the bomb over distances of 4,000 miles. However, the Air Ministry rejected the concept of a single-bomb aircraft, leading to its discontinuation after 1942. Despite this, the design and production of the Tall Boy bomb proceeded without a formal contract, driven by Wallace's 1942 paper on spherical bombs and the success of the bouncing bombs used by the dambusters. The RAF utilized these bombs, which remained Vickers' property until their effectiveness was confirmed. Basically, once they knew it worked, mine now. The Tall Boy achieved significant milestones, including the June 24, 1944 Operation Crossbow attack on La Capole, it's French, which comprised the V2 assembly bunker, and the June 8-9, 1944 bombing of the Samur Tunnel, halting Panzer reinforcements. Notably, the Tall Boy was instrumental in sinking of the Tirpitz, the last Bismarck-class battleship during Operation Catechism.
Catechism.
What the fuck does that even mean?
Something Catholic.
Yeah, probably.
My favorite part about the Tirpitz sinking is that they basically just use them as giant lawn darts.
Basically, yeah. Didn't even need it. I mean, you put a hole that big into even a battleship, you're not gonna have a fun.
We don't even need it to explode. This is just it's a
it's
a vertical sabot round.
Yeah, and even then, if it did, they would have, because it would have punctured right through. Because these are designed for fucking meters of concrete, not millimeters of steel. So they would have gone underneath the Tirpitz and then detonated, which is just basically a giant fucking mine.
Yeah, I don't think many of them ended up actually detonating.
Yeah, there probably wasn't enough force to set them off.
Well, and once they got into the water, there's all the weird physics of how things then start to move, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, let's just punch giant, 6-foot holes into the bottom of battleships.
The Grand Slam, the 10,000 kilogram or 22,000 pound earthquake bomb, was used by the RAF Bomber Command in the later stages of World War II. Initially known as the Tall Boy Large until the name Grand Slam gained traction in the press. This bomb was designed as a larger version of the Tall Boy, closely aligning with the original visions of its inventor. It became the largest and most powerful conventional aerial bomb utilized by either side of the war. Until,
Yeah.
The
Bucket of
sunlight.
sunshine.
Yes.
Well, that's not conventional though.
No,
True.
they're not. Yeah, nukes aren't
Yeah.
conventional, are they? No. Okay.
No.
Grand Slam bombs were engineered to address the limitations of general-purpose bombs, offering enhanced blast effects and robust casings for effective penetration. Made from a chrome molybdenum, fucking alloy, the Grand Slam had a charge-to-weight ratio exceeding 43%. I have a feeling that is a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Standard Avro Lancaster bombers were unable to carry the Grand Slam, leading to the construction of 32 modified Lancaster specials, featuring more powerful engines, strength, and a strengthened design. While carrying the Grand Slam, these aircraft had limited maneuverability. Funny that. And pilots were advised to minimize control adjustments. Can you imagine that thing if it started swinging in its cradle? You're fucked.
Oh shit.
Any
Yeah.
Lancaster returning with an unused bomb was required to land at the longer runway at RAF Carnaby instead of the 617 squadron base. Oh, fuck landing with one of those.
Just drop it in the ocean.
I would be amazed if the suspension didn't need to be replaced after that. From March 14 to April 19th, 1945, 42 Grand Slams were dropped on Germany. Designed to penetrate soft ground before exploding, these bombs sometimes broke apart or detonated prematurely on hard surfaces. Their ability to cause extensive damage accelerated the collapse of German defences while minimalising civilian casualties. The Grand Slam remained one of the most effective Allied bombs until the introduction of atomic weapons later that year. After the war, both the RAF and the United States Army Air Forces conducted research using Grand Slams and other munitions. You just know the minute the Americans saw the Grand Slam, they got the biggest hard on.
I mean, can you blame them?
No, I mean, I really can't.
So is that the biggest one then? Until what, the MOAB?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. These are the OG Moabs. All right. If you want to build a B1 special, well, let's see. I have a feeling the Hasegawa ones, you have the only Toolboy designated ones, because of course the Toolboy did have a bomb bay. So Hasegawa have the only Toolboy Tirpitz Raids Lancasters. They also have the Grand Slam. In 48 scale, you have two from Tamiya. And of course, HK models have a 32nd scale Mark 1 special Grand Slam, which if I was to have a 32nd scale Lancaster, it would be this one.
Yeah.
Could you imagine how big?
Just for the bomb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could you imagine how big that bomb would be in 32nd scale?
Almost as tall as Garrison.
You're funny, Don. You're funny. You got jokes. You got jokes.
Oh boy. Of course, we've been talking about all his inventions for a while, but maybe we should just have a little word on good old Barnes Wallis. So, born on September 26, 1887 in Ripley, Derbyshire. He was a pioneering aeronautical engineer and inventor whose contributions
Innovative.
during World War II significantly impacted aerial warfare. Best known for designing the bouncing bomb used on the dam busters and the Grand Slam bomb. His work exemplified the intersection of engineering ingenuity and military necessity, and also a little bit of fuck it, why not? Wallace's early education laid a solid foundation for his future achievements. He studied engineering at the University of London, and his career began at Vickers, a prominent aircraft manufacturer, where he quickly made a name for himself. His early designs focused on improving aircraft performance, but it was during the war that his creativity truly flourished. One of Wallace's most notable inventions was the bouncing bomb, conceived as a means to destroy German dams. This bomb would skip across the water's surface before sinking and detonating against the dam wall, requiring precise calculations of aerodynamics and projectile motion. All right.
Sorry.
The successful deployment of this bomb during Operation Chastise exemplified Wallace's ability to blend technical knowledge with tactical thinking, ultimately leading to the destruction of key infrastructure. Building on the principles behind the bouncing bomb, he later developed the Grand Slam, which we just talked about. The bomb was aimed to undermine significant structures and was employed on several successful raids against German targets. The Grand Slam was the largest conventional bomb used during the conflict, as we said before. Wallace's engineering genius extended beyond bomb design. He also advocated for the integration of new technologies into military aviation. He understood the advancements of aircraft design, coupled with munitions that could change the landscape of war. His work led to modifications of the Avro Lancaster to carry heavier payloads. After the war, Wallace continued to contribute to engineering and aviation, focusing on development of civil aviation technologies. His legacy is marked by a commitment to innovation, demonstrating how engineering can address real-world challenges. He was knighted in 1968 as a recognition to his contributions to engineering. And also, I gotta say, he's a pretty damn good-looking fella. So, there are some lesser-known variants of the Lancaster, and this is part 1. So we have the PR-1. It was modified for photographic reconnaissance and operated by RAF number 82 and 541. All armament and turrets were removed, and the nose was reconfigured to accommodate a camera in the bomb bay. Additionally, 683 PR Squadron utilized this aircraft after its reformation in November 1950 for photographic reconnaissance and mapping tasks. Initially based at RAF Fayed in Egypt, the squadron relocated to RAF Cabrit, whatever, in February 1951 and later moved to Habiana in Iraq, where it was disbanded in November 30, 1953. And of course, on the left here, we see some of those Egypt photo reconnaissance Lancasters, looking pretty cool. We have the B-1FE. To meet the operational needs of Tiger Force against the Japanese in the Far East. Of course, Tiger Force was named, that was the force that was going to be landing on Japan, I believe.
It was the Commonwealth element of it, yeah.
Yeah. A tropicalized variant of the aircraft was developed based on late production models. The B-1FE featured modified radio and radar systems, navigational aids, and a 400 imperial gallon fuel tank installed in the bomb bay. Most of these aircraft were painted with white upper surfaces to help lower internal temperatures in the tropical sun, while the undersides were painted black with a low demarcation line between the two colors. Notably, all instances of red in the national insignia were removed to prevent confusion with the Japanese Hinamaru insignia, because, of course, guaranteed, no Americans in the Pacific even knew what a Lancaster looked like.
I mean,
What's a goddamn Lancaster?
What were you going to say, Clint?
I said I could see mistaking it for a Betty.
I mean, if they've never seen it before, then anything with a red dot is kind of just fair game.
Yeah, true.
We
Gonna have a
have
bad time.
Up next, we have the ASR-3. So the B-3 was modified for air-sea rescue operations, featuring 3 dipole ventral antennas mounted behind the radar and an airborne lifeboat housed in a modified bomb bay. In many post-war adaptations, the armament was frequently removed and the mid-upper turret was streamlined. Additionally, observation windows were installed on both sides of the rear fuselage, with a port window positioned just forward of the tailplane and a starboard window integrated into the rear access door. Several ASR-3 conversions were also equipped with Lincoln-style rudders, and we can see this is an ASR-3 on the left here. And of course, you have the MR-3 or the GR-3, which was just more modified for maritime reconnaissance. Nothing too special there. Part 2. You guys aren't getting bored, I take it?
Never.
No.
Chilling, bro. We're chilling.
We have the B-6. 9 B-3 aircraft were converted to the B-6, equipped with Merlin 85 or 87 engines, featuring 2-stage superchargers for enhanced high-altitude performance. As you can see right here, you can see these Merlins look a tad different to the regulars.
Beefy.
Yes, yes, very. This model could reach a maximum speed of 313 miles an hour at 18,200 feet and had a service ceiling of 28,500 feet at a takeoff weight of 65,000 pounds. It could climb to 28,000 feet in 44.8 minutes. Oof, blistering.
Hmm.
With a climb rate of 1,080 feet per minute at 1,000 feet. Notably, a B6 achieved a maximum indicated speed of 350 miles an hour during a dive. That would be fucking terrifying.
Dude, oh my god, imagine the.
The whole thing would be vibrating violently. You'd be going, can we pull out of this?
Oh my god.
It's like, hey, where's my wing gone?
Right.
The aircraft featured annular cowlings and a three-bladed paddle propellers, serving primarily with Pathfinder units in the RAF. The B-6 was utilized as a master bomber by various RAF squadrons, while two were retained by Rolls-Royce for testing. Modifications included the removal and fairing over of the dorsal and nose turrets. However, the powerful engines presented reliability issues, causing maintenance challenges due to rough running and synchronization problems. The B-6 was withdrawn from service on November 1944, with surviving units repurposed for testing and experimental roles by Rolls-Royce and other organizations. There was sort of one recurring problem with Merlins. They were just too damn powerful sometimes. Like
It'd be like
Spitfires,
that.
they couldn't run. You can't run a Merlin on 100% for too long. Most of the time when you see them flying, you're dialed back to about 80 because the Merlins would just kind of tear themselves apart, which is also kind of cool.
Minor detail.
Ah, yeah, don't worry about it. You'll be fine. And we have the B7. The B7 was the final production version of the Lancaster. It featured a slightly repositioned Martin 250 CE mid-upper turret, moved forward compared to earlier models, and replaced the FN-20 tail turret with a Nash & Thompson FN-82 turret equipped with twin 50 cals, offering significantly greater firepower than the previous 303 Mark IIs. However, the Martin turrets were not available in time for the first 50 aircraft built by Austin, which were thus designated as Mark 7 interims. An additional 180 true Mark 7s were constructed at Longbridge. There were also two subvariants of the 7, the Far East, or FE, designed for tropical climates, and the B7 Western Union, which was deployed in France.
I love that it's called Western Union. That's great.
And if you want to build, which would probably be a hipster Lancaster, well, you have two, unfortunately. From Airfix, you have the Avro Lancaster B1 FE, which is the Tiger Force one. Or from Hasegawa, you have the Lancaster ASR Mark III with a bright yellow lifeboat underneath. Which, if out
That's
of
actually
both,
pretty cool.
out of both of these, I would take the lifeboat one. That's pretty neat.
Oh yeah.
Now this is for
Yay!
John.
Oh, that's fucking beautiful.
We have the Canadian Lancasters, also known as the B10. So, the B10 was a Canadian-built version of the B3, equipped with instruments and electrical systems from Canada and the US. Heathens. In later production batches, the heavier Martin 250 CE turret replaced the Nasr and Thompson FN-50 mid-upper, positioned further forward to maintain balance. Canada operated the Lancaster long-term using modified aircraft for maritime patrol, search and rescue, and photo reconnaissance until 1964. The last flight of an RCAF Lancaster occurred on July 4, 1964 during the Calgary International Air Show, piloted by Flight Lieutenant Lynn Garrison in aircraft KB976.
Fucking raw.
During World War II, Canada's Victory aircraft, later Avro Canada, developed the Lancastrian, designated the XPP for Mark 10 passenger plane, with 6 units being built for Trans-Canada Airlines. And I don't have a photo of that because it's fucking horrible and cursed and looks horrendous.
It's so wonderful, and I am so sad that I missed when you were putting the slide together.
So, post-war, the RCAF modified the B-10 for various roles, each with specific designations. Up first, we have the 10AR, Area Reconnaissance, 3 aircraft modified for Arctic service, featuring a 40-inch extended nose for cameras and E-Link equipment, remained in service until 1964. Would that be... No. Wouldn't be
What?
any of these, would they? Do you know how difficult it was to try and find photos of any of these?
They all look almost identical.
Yeah, that's also the problem.
It's but no.
It is standardized,
the
which
only-
I'm okay with.
The only good photos that are out there are a few of the maritime reconnaissance and the search and rescue, and one or two of the bomber recon models. But I have a feeling that the photos are all just miscaptioned anyway, unless you're deep diving serial numbers and that sort of stuff.
Yeah. We have the 10BR Bomber Reconnaissance, minimally modified variant with additional observation windows, 13 of these. You have the 10DC drone controller, 2 modified in 1957 for Ryan Firebee drones, operated until 61. We have the 10MR, later known as the 10MP, maritime reconnaissance or patrol anti-submarine warfare aircraft, based on the BR variant with the mid-upper turret removed, 70 to 75 were converted, in service from 50 to 55. The 10N navigational trainer, 5 of these. The 10O was the Orenda jet engine testbed for the engine used in the Avro CF100.
Why did you not put a picture of that in?
Because I couldn't find one, alright?
Did you? I'm so disappointed in you right
Don,
now.
Don, take a breath. Breathe in. Breathe out.
I'm going to send it to you right now, and you're going to see what you've missed out on.
I'll put it in post-op, alright?
You also didn't ask.
Well, I was busy, alright?
Carry on.
We have the 10P photo reconnaissance used for mapping duties, 11 converted between 48 and 50, retired in 64. We have the 10S and R interim search and rescue aircraft, a minimally modified version of the 10S, replaced by disarmed 10BRs and 10MRs. Also, that is definitely an SNR Lanc right there.
Yes.
And I also love this scheme. And
the early post-war RCAF stuff is glorious to behold.
Yeah, then they started getting to like less things like this.
Now, see, I like that.
No, other way around.
Oh, is that before,
So
that's before that?
Yeah.
Okay, I changed my mind. I like the later stuff. And lastly, we have the 10S standard designation for the baseline model with Merlin 224 engines, Martin mid-upper turret, and H2S radar. Retained post-war for future use, sometimes informally referred to as the 10U. Now, hands up if you think there is a model kit of one of these.
Probably not.
Yeah, my
You are
hand's
wrong.
not up.
I have it sitting in my basement.
Let me guess, the
Build it.
Hasegawa one?
Yes.
Yes, because the A model one, well, don't
Good
go
luck
anywhere near a fucking A model kit, and also it's in 1 to 144 scale. And in 40 and 72nd scale, you have the Hasegawa Lancaster Rescue Unit, which I would also love to have. When are you going to build it?
I don't know, because I have plans. And by plans, I mean a whole lot of photo etch.
For this kit?
Yep.
There's you can get an upgrade kit for it?
Yep.
Huh.
It's not for the specific rescue unit, but it's there's a boatload of PE out there for the Hasegawa kits.
Have you acquired it yet, or are you still trying to find it?
Trying to find it for a reasonable price. There's
Fair.
also
That's the magic word.
Yeah, reasonable price.
resin upgrades for the Merlins, and I don't know. I'll get to it eventually. I also have the deluxe version that came with Belcher's bits, decals, and a couple of other extras.
Ooh, very nice.
So, yeah, I don't want to screw this one up. This is going to be a
magnum opus.
Well, and there's a lot of metallics and white and red that need to be sprayed on that thing.
Yeah,
it's not a.
You'd hope this is a decal at the very least.
The stripe.
Yeah, the little stripe on the side.
The stripe's a decal. The orange is a decal, but I'll probably end up spraying it.
Yeah, I was going to say you'd probably want to spray the orange just because a decal would I don't like decals that wrap around fuselages.
No, they're a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Always. Now get your cricket to work.
Yeah, no kidding.
Deviating from the Lancaster now, we're going on to its you could call it a successor, I guess.
Yeah.
The Avro Lincoln. So the Avro Type 694 Lincoln was a British four-engined heavy bomber that made its maiden flight on June 9th, 1944. Developed from the Avro Lancaster, the initial variants were designated the Lancaster 4 and 5, but were later renamed Lincoln 1 and 2. Right, yeah, I'll add that in post.
See?
I'll keep the I'll keep the audio so people know what we're talking about, but I will for comedic value, you telling me off it will be pretty funny.
Moving on.
Anyway, now this aircraft marked the second to last use of piston engine bombers by the Royal Air Force. Of course, there is one more that they continue to use until 1991, but we'll get to that.
What the fuck?
You'll see.
Oh, just wait.
Yeah. Achieving operational status in August 1945, the Lincoln was originally assigned to the Tiger Force, a Commonwealth heavy bomber group intended for the campaign against Japan during the final stages of World War II. However, the war ended before the Lincoln could be deployed in combat. The sun set on the rising sun, basically.
Actually, I think it rose on it.
Yeah.
Twice, actually.
Despite this, the production of the aircraft continued, and it became a key component of the RAF's fleet, progressively replacing the Lancaster through the late 1940s. In the 1950s, the Lincoln was actively used in various operations. RAF squadrons deployed the bomber to counter guerrilla fighters during the Mau Mau uprising in Kenya. I think that's
hold on a second, because we need to put some context to this for anyone who doesn't know what the Mau Mau uprising was.
Oh god, is this a war crime type thing?
Well, okay, so
yes.
Heavy bomber being used against a guerrilla force who would routinely shape pieces of wood into semblances of a Lee Enfield, with the assumption that it was the shape that gave it magic that allowed it to be a firearm.
Oh.
Like we're not dealing with like
hearts.
an armed. There were some captured weapons and that sort of thing, but this was a lot of the stick looks like a gun, therefore it is a gun. And we were, well, not we, the Brits were carpet bombing them with upgraded Lancasters.
You know what? More power to the Brits.
I mean, that seems like a slightly lopsided sort of thing.
Just a titch.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like the shipping cults, like after the war, like
yeah,
hey,
exactly.
we're gonna build this airplane out of wood and make them.
Yeah, and then a control tower and a radio out of coconuts and. Yeah. This is bombing a cargo cult is exactly what this is.
I feel bad now.
No, don't feel bad. It's okay.
Well, see, now the rest of the sentence is sort of null and void because it's showcasing its versatility and effectiveness in challenging environments.
Alright, you can feel bad.
Oh, I'm going. We are so going to hell.
Hey, now they probably had some wooden 40 miller Bofos down there too.
Yeah, bro, you can't blame them, okay?
Oh my god. Additionally, the RAF and Royal Australian Air Forces utilised the Lincoln during the Malayan emergency. God, please tell me that's at least they could shoot back.
I mean, I don't think that there was a lot of man-portable, air defense.
So why didn't the Canadians use the Lincoln then? Because clearly this is a war crimes aircraft.
Because then we would have had to, for the same reason that we continued to use war-built Lancasters into the 60s, because we would have had to have purchased them.
Oh, that's right. Canadian fucking
defense procurement.
Yes. Oh, that's
yes.
right.
If there is one, it is the only thing that is holding Canada back from world domination.
Now, please tell me that the Aussies was using this to fucking carpet bomb emus.
Broke.
To be honest, the emu would have won.
Well, yeah, definitely.
Utilized them during the Malayan emergency, further demonstrating its ability to encounter insurgency operations. And carpet bombing.
Bro, that's the definition of the winning side rights history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My God.
You imagine that? It's like we've got this counterinsurgency. Yeah, we're going to take it back to the government. And what's that? Beyond military engagements, the Lincoln enjoyed significant peacetime service with the RAF, AAF, and the Argentine Air Force, fulfilling various roles, including reconnaissance and transport.
And
Yeah,
knowing
the
the
Argentina
Argentines
versus
possibly dropping people out into the jungle.
Possibly.
I was just gonna say they never done anything wrong.
Yeah, no, totally. They're cool.
No.
God, no wonder there's not many model kits of a Lincoln. They're just
Yeah.
The Lincoln also found a place in civil aviation, where it was utilized as an aerial testbed for aero engine research, highlighting its engineering capabilities and contribution advancements to aviation technology. This dual-use nature of the aircraft underscored its importance beyond just military applications. As aviation,
Dual use is usually a good sign that something is war crimes as well.
yes,
I was about to say, this feels like the airplane version of the SS scientist who worked for NASA and, worked in the beginning stages of NATO. Oh God.
As
Are we the
aviation-
bad guys?
Hey, you laugh, but if it wasn't for Operation
Yes.
Paperclip, I wouldn't be here.
Oh, God. As aviation technology evolved, the Lincoln was eventually phased out of RAF service in favor of a new generation of jet-propelled bombers, which offered improved speed, range, and payload capability. The transition to jet power marked a significant shift in military aviation, reflecting broader changes in warfare and air combat strategies, unless you're Canadian. The last Lincolns in Argentine service were retired in 1967, marking an end of an era to this bomber. So
Probably a good thing.
we have a few variants, and up the top right photo is very, very cursed. Can anyone guess what's going on with this Lincoln top right?
War crimes.
Well, it's flying, obviously. Fuck.
Nose job.
Yeah, it's got an engine in the nose.
Oh my
shit, I
God,
didn't
it
realize
does.
that.
So the Avro Type 694 variants, the prototypes developed to meet Air Ministry Specification 1443. You have the Lincoln 1, which is the long-range bomber version, powered by four 1,750 horsepower Rolls-Royce Merlin 85 inlines. The Lincoln 2 was equipped with four Merlin 66 or 68As. Production involved Avro, Armstrong Whitworth, and Vickers Metropolitan. The Lincoln 3, designed as a maritime reconnaissance and anti-submarine warfare aircraft, the Lincoln 3 later evolved into the Avro Shackleton. Lincoln 4 was a variant of the Lincoln 2, but using Merlin 85s. Don't know why you'd bother making it into a different variant, but whatever.
Because the Brits love to make everything into different variants.
Yes. The Lincoln U.5 was a Lincoln 2 modified to serve as a drone, only 2 units being converted. That would be fun to fly around. What are you doing? Flying around an RC plane? Lincoln Mark 15 was a designation applied to a single aircraft produced by Victory Aircraft in Canada. Oh, so you did use a Lincoln.
Apparently.
I mean, it got its own.
We didn't
variant.
use it, we just built it.
Yeah, just one as well. A single Lincoln. We have the Mark 30, a long-range bomber version specifically for the Royal Australian Air Force. The 30A, which was a version of the RAF, featured a longer nose and was powered by Australian-manufactured Merlin 102s. As you can see here, you can see the difference between a standard nose and the long nose.
Long nose actually looks really cool.
I know, it's a weird thing. It looks a bit better for some reason.
It does. Looks complete.
Yeah. The short nose ones just looks like it's been punched in the face.
Well, it's because rationing is over now.
The Mark 31 is just a general reconnaissance variant of the Mark 30, but with Merlin 85s or 102s. The MR-31 is an anti-submarine warfare and maritime reconnaissance version of the Mark 31. The Avro 695
Lincolnian.
Lincolnian, a transport derivative similar to the Avro Lancastrian. And the Lincoln ASR-3 was the initial designation of the Avro Shackleton, which was based on the Lincoln design. And if you want to build one, you have two optional Welsh models in 1:144 scale.
Ooh. Vacuum form badness.
I know. Why? The Lincoln deserves a proper kit, to be honest. And speaking of the Shackleton, just a brief overview, because, the Shackleton was all right, but apparently not that fun to fly. The Avro Shackleton was a British long-range maritime patrol aircraft utilised by both the Royal Air Force and the South African Air Force. Developed by
Speaking of war crimes.
Developed by Avro from the Avro Lincoln bomber, which itself was a derivative of the renowned Avro Lancaster bomber. The Shackleton was designed in response to the rapid expansion of the Soviet Navy, particularly its submarine capabilities. Initiated in the late 1940s, the Shackleton was produced as the main aircraft for RAF Coastal Command. Originally designated as Type 696, it incorporated significant elements from both the Lincoln and Avro Tudor passenger aircraft. The Shackleton featured advanced electronic suites for anti-submarine warfare missions, alongside an improved crew environment to accommodate lengthy patrols. Initially referred to as the Lincoln ASR-3, it was ultimately named Shackleton in honor of the polar explorer Sir Ernest Shackleton. The aircraft entered operational service with the RAF in April 1951, primarily serving in ASW and MPA roles. It was also frequently deployed for aerial search and rescue missions, as well as for various secondary tasks, including mail delivery and troop transport. The SAAF procured the Shackleton for its own maritime patrol needs, operating it from 1957 until 1984. Notably, during the SS Wayfra oil spill in March 1971, several SAAF Shackletons were employed to intentionally sink the damaged oil tanker using depth charges to prevent further environmental damage. Now, tell me that wouldn't be a fun day out.
Tell me
Anybody
how
else
that
think
makes
that
sense.
was the wrong ordnance package to use?
That as well. If it's just sitting on the surface, a bomb probably would have been better.
Or a torpedo?
Yeah.
Fuck it, the boys are having fun.
Good training, to be honest. In the 1970s, the Shackleton began to be phased out of maritime patrol duties, replaced by the jet-powered Hawkley Siddeley Nimrod, one of the ugliest fucking things to go in the sky.
The fucking name, bro.
Dude, look at the aircraft. It's got like this big bulbous nose that looks so stupid.
It does look like a Nimrod.
However, a small number of RAF Shackletons underwent extensive modifications to serve in the airborne early warning role. These modified aircraft remained in service until 1991, when they were ultimately replaced by the Boeing E-3 Sentry AEW aircraft, marking the end of the Shackleton's active service. Can you imagine using this from the 50s to 1991?
No.
I like it. I love the look of this one. This is the best looking one so far.
Well, which one? You got this kind of nose, you got this kind of nose, this one?
Yeah.
Well,
I'm just going to point out that the RCAF ran CF-100 Canucks until the late 80s.
That's because it was a good aircraft.
So was the Shack-ish.
Although apparently horrendous to actually fly inside. It was very windy and not comfortable.
Well, it's the British equivalent of the Bear, right?
That's
It's screamingly loud and just vibrates like crazy.
So we have a few variants. We have the Mark 1, Mark 2, and Mark 3, but of course, being British, you need to have sub-variants. So we have the Mark 1, and then you have Phase 1, 2, and 3. I'll go through this real quick. So the Mark 1, the MR Mark 1 was the first production model for the RAF, equipped with a dorsal turret housing two 20mm cannons. A total of 29 were built, with the first entering service March 1951. You have the MR Mark 1A, powered by 4 Griffin 57A V12 engines, 47 built. All MR1s were converted into a Mark 1A, and the T4 was a navigation trainer converted from the MR1. The Shackleton Mark II. The Mark II had a longer nose, a ventral radome, and additional armaments. The prototype flew on June 17, 1952. The last 10 MR1s were completed as MR2s, totaling 69 built, with service beginning in 53. So you have the Phase 1, which was upgraded with Sonics plotting from the Mark III. You have the Phase 2, which was actually similar, and the Mark II Phase 3. Like a Mark III, but without Viper engines. Yeah, whoop-de-doo. It's like, seriously, just call it all under one. Don't why Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3. You have the Shackleton T2, which was just a radar trainer, and an AEW2, which 12 MR2s were converted as airborne early warning aircraft. And the Mark III was designed for maritime reconnaissance and anti-shipping roles. Key modifications including a tricycle undercarriage, which looks cursed, a nose entrance hatch, and wingtip tanks to increase fuel capability. The interior was soundproofed with improved crew seating and rearranged tactical positions, resulting in the removal of the dorsal turret. The first MR3 flew on September 2nd, 1955, but it experienced stalling issues, leading to a crash on December 7th, 1956. The variant entered service with 220 Squadron at RAF St. Avel in August 1957. Initially, 52 aircraft were ordered, but this was reduced to 33 following the 1956 Defence Review. One additional aircraft was built to replace one lost during stalling trials, and 8 were exported to South Africa. Of course, it went under phased modifications. The Phase 1 focused on internal equipment. Phase 2 introduced electronic countermeasures, the Orange Harvest spark plug, and improved high-frequency radio. And the Phase 3 added 2 Armstrong Siddeley Viper turbojet engines for assisted takeoff, requiring strengthened wing spars, a new navigation system, and modifications to the internal layout for enhanced tactical space. So we have here the differences in the shape, and it went through a few shape changes. I think out of all of them, I like the Mark II the best. Tricycle ones look a bit weird. And if you want to build a Shackleton, you have, of course, Airfix with the MR2 and the AEW2. And you have Revell's MR3 and AEW2. I am going to say that something that you guys aren't going to like. If you want to build a Shackleton, Airfix or Revell, which one do you choose?
Revell.
Revell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Airfix Shackletons are horrendous. My mate is currently trying to, quote, build one. It has more filler than plastic. I think he's building the MR2 one, and like it's so bad that the fuselage doesn't even fit together. Whereas
Oof.
the Revell ones I've seen built many times, and they have a lot of very good reviews on them. So this will be one of the rare times I actually say go with Revell.
I was about to say, you fuckers are giving me shit for getting the Revell Leopard.
Yeah, because there are like 4 other leopards that you could have purchased.
Yeah, like
not at my model store.
Like this is choosing like the best of the worst.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like would you rather step in cold dog shit or warm dog shit?
Yeah.
Okay, solid point. But
Cold,
come on,
it's easier to clean off your shoes.
I mean, the leopard I got can't be that bad, right?
No, but there are better.
Yeah.
True, but
Garrison,
not at my
look up the
model
kit.
store.
Don't be like me.
Well,
Don't
your
choose
model
the
store
lowest.
sucks.
It does.
And
Look up the kit on ScaleMates. I bet it's probably actually a rebox of a Academy kit.
Let's
I'll
go
look it
find
up.
out. Let's go find out.
I will say, if I had to choose one of these, I would take the Revell MR3. I think that one's just probably the best looking in terms of color schemes. You got the aerial tanks on the wingtips. I think that's looking the best right now. And lastly, we have Last of the Lancasters, but I'm going to let Don take over for this last bit because he put these ones in when he is ready.
Oh yeah. So there's 2 left that are airworthy, and we have one, and it's wonderful. So whatever. There's a whole pile of Spitfires and a whole pile of Mustangs and a couple of Thunderbolts and all that sort of stuff left laying around, but only 2 Lancasters have survived into the second decade of the 21st century, still in flying condition. One of them, our beloved Vera, who lives at the Canadian Warplane Heritage Museum in Hamilton, and you can actually go fly on Vera for a reasonable sum of money.
What's reasonable?
I actually don't know what their rates are up to. It's a few $100, but it's not outrageous.
Huh. I might need to start saving up.
Caster flights prices. So a seat on Vera will run you. Ooh, I was.
Did you leave a
sorely
zero
mistaken.
out?
Yeah, $4,300 Canadian.
For how long of a flight?
An hour.
Ugh.
But
I mean, for 4,300, I'll be expecting to do a bombing run.
you get a $1,300 tax receipt.
Bruh, for $4,300 for an hour versus $4,300 in modeling supplies and kits for years to come of fun.
They sell out every single year.
I'm honestly not surprised.
Jesus. Yeah, well, to be fair, like in New Zealand, we have like the Spitfire, Mustang P40. They always sell out at air shows as well. Then they're like $2,300 to $3,000.
So $2,000 to sit in a fire or to fly in a Firefly. $800 for a seat in the Catalina. Or if you're feeling particularly pinched, $275 to go up in a Norseman.
See that, like, $800 for the Catalina seems quite expensive because I've done a flight in a Catalina. Yeah, humble brag. And it definitely wasn't that much because we went up as a family. So, yeah, there was 4 of us. We went up on the Catalina. Funnily enough, when we did it, it was actually during the Battle of Britain memorial flights. So unintentionally, we ended up being in the middle of the Battle of Britain formation.
Oh, that's cool.
So we were flying in formation. We had so that was being done over the city, but of course we're in Ardmore, which is just about 40 minutes away from the city centre. So we had the Spitfire and Mustang fly in formation with us, but escort us to the city, and then we flew in formation with the DC-3, and the others were just like ducking and diving in formation with us. So that was cool.
That's pretty
That's
awesome.
fun.
Yeah.
That sounds fun.
That is cool. And of course, next slide, please. Oh, before I go back, Victory built in July 1945 and was originally a Canadian Air Force maritime reconnaissance aircraft.
Oh, cool.
That's been, during its restoration, was converted back to the B-13 standard out of parts that have been scavenged for ever. It's been flying for almost 40 years now at the museum.
Damn.
Yeah. All right. Next. And then the Brits have one.
I think the British used to have 2 because there used to be one that was the City of Lincoln. Was it?
The paint schemes on them change all the time.
Yeah.
But I think they did have 2 for the memorial flight at one point, and then it just became.
Yeah, because I remember my dad was saying he used to see one quite regularly. I swear it was the City of Lincoln. Is what it was called. But yeah.
And then there are rumors, but I think they've finally been put to bed, that British Columbia Aviation Museum, they're actively restoring a Lancaster, and the plan was at one point to have it airworthy, but now they're just restoring it to airworthy standard, but there's no intention to actually fly it.
All right. Because you remember there was that rumor of Peter Jackson making a Dam Busters movie, and he was actually like restoring a Dam Buster.
Yeah, I'll just build an actual Lancaster because I'm Peter Jackson and I can do whatever I want.
Then again, he fucking builds World War One aircraft from fucking scratch. So
dear Peter Jackson, if you're listening to this,
please. And actually, I'll let you guys know on one thing. Next year is the Omaka air show, Warbirds over Omaka. Dad and I are looking to go down there because that is where his Omaka is where he. I think it's
is that where Hobbiton is?
No, Hobbiton is like an hour and a half down south from my city. No, but Omaka is much further down near the lower end of the North Island. But that is where Peter Jackson's entire collection is. Plus, they have something I recently found out. They have an airworthy and flying Focke-Wulf 190.
What?
Yeah, I didn't fucking know that. I was like, hey, what? We have to
go. Yeah, you gotta go. The fuck?
What model of 190?
I think
does
it German one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a feeling that I think it's an A4. But I need to look. I need to double check that. It's either an A4 or an R8. But it's a fucking 190 that's still flying.
Oh yeah.
So hopefully next year we'll be going down there to that air show. So very cool.
Hell yeah.
Congratulations.
And Garrison, it's like your kit is a 2012 new tool, but the design goes all the way back to the 1985 Italeri kit.
I was looking at the model kit itself. It doesn't look that bad. Like, honest to God, like it's actually a nice looking kit.
Just wait. Give it time.
You know
how many times I've said, "Hey, this looks like a really good kit," and next thing I know, I'm wanting to fucking punt it.
I mean, it's got some really I'm looking at the turret right now, and it's got a lot of nice detail.
Yeah,
now,
it's got a gun and hatches.
Yeah, bro, it's a leopard,
Vinyl tracks.
Yes, it does have vinyl tracks.
When I first
road wheels.
When I first started building my bird dog, it's like hey, this looks like a very nice kit, and then it was just like, hey, it's a rodent. I've never built a rodent before.
You're like, hey, it was almost as if it was built in two different factories.
Right?
It's like, hey, I'm never building rodent again.
Was it the Vasa that they built like half of it in metric and half of it in some weird Dutch metric, and that's why it sank? I have a feeling that's what happens with these types of kits.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
They're keeping it historically accurate.
Well,
we got an old press at work. It was made by Etchell, and he only made 2 of them, and it's an English guy that made it. Well, everything is in that weird fucking British thread, not standard or not metric, but the old British standard thread.
Oh.
So yeah, it's like the guy's been trying to convert everything over for like the last 10 years to standard.
That sounds like a ball ache.
Oh yes, I'm glad I don't have to work on it.
All right, so that was the Avro Lancaster and variants and successors, predecessors, all of that. We are going to have a brief intermission now. Then we are going to go on to the usual hobby news and whips, and we have a new segment that we're going to be launching and all of that. But until then, we're going to have a quick break, and because let's just say that coffee I had with the cottage cheese is starting to
percolate
noises. Yeah. So
called it.
We'll be right back. And we are back with the hobby news, and I think this week is we're running a little bit light on new releases, but let's go check them out.
That's because nobody wants to make anything new.
No. Up first, though, from Pig Models in 35th scale, we have an M4A1 Sherman with a T1 E3 mine exploder, which is the goofiest looking attachment in the world, but I would happily take one.
That might be worth it just for the hull.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how good pig models are. I've never really heard of them, but
I never heard of them either.
yeah, I think they released a T-34 85, but they included like a shit ton of stuff, including a book recently. But I don't know. I wouldn't mind having one though, but the mine exploder is goofy. I'd prefer to have the flail.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
My
Because
question
you'd
is,
be
what happened to Aunt Jemima 1?
to what?
What happened to Aunt Jemima 1?
Probably a Panzer IV.
Oh, okay, good.
I can't imagine seeing Ford would be easy with those things, especially for the driver, because you're like offset, so you'd be looking at like the roller. Up next from Armor Models, we have a BTR 90 and 35th scale.
Mm. Mm.
You okay there, buddy?
You good there?
Need a minute to go change your pants?
Yeah, I'll be back.
Moving on. Mini Art continuing with their M3
Oh, yes.
Stuart. This is the
Oh,
M3
God.
Stuart diesel early production. So this is one of the first ones with the diesel engine. It comes with markings for a training unit in Georgia and also this Marine Corps one for Guadalcanal, which
As well as
That goes
individual
hard.
rivets.
yes, I do like the scheme though with the blue stripe around the turret.
I will
That
wanna
box
get these.
art goes hard.
I like how they even like show the little commander's head sticking slightly sticking out. Although he's kind of fucked up here because it's like how's he supposed to see where the gun's pointing because he's like folded the fucking hatch right in front of him,
Right?
dumbass. But I've seen people
Seems
building
like a design flaw for that particular hatch.
just a little one, folding it in front of the front bloody vision slit. Probably not a good idea. However, I have seen people building up these new mini art Stuarts, and they look really good.
Wait a minute, how many machine guns is on this fucker?
Yes,
5, I think, was the
That is
total.
5. Yeah.
5. I think the M2 medium used to had more. They had 2 more sticking out the back.
Yeah, sticking at the back of the Sponson boxes.
And then 2 anti-aircraft ones that were fixed facing upwards on the turret as well. I mean, Americans love the Browning M1919. What can you say?
It was a good machine gun.
Yeah,
I would totally have one.
The original Medal of Honor had a level where you played
John Bass.
all of the crew members inside one of these early M3s on Guadalcanal, and you're basically just jumping between machine gun positions.
that's kind of cool, to be honest.
Trying to nail Japs with lunge mines and stuff.
Oh, that was Medal of Honor Rising Sun.
Was it Rising Sun?
Yeah.
Yes.
But I don't think you were inside the M3. You were just escorting it.
Oh, maybe.
Also, I think the lunge came in later.
It's a second level, right? You're talking about when you start on the bridge.
Yep.
It's down in the basement. I'm gonna have to go dig that out.
That's such a good game. They need to remaster that shit, dude.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
I loved it. Me and my mate played the campaign fucking like 5 or 6 times.
That was my first ever war game. Was Medal of Honor Rising Sun. I played the dog shit out of it.
Sneaking around Singapore with a well rod.
Oh, loved that mission. Good times. Oh, and also riding an elephant with a fucking Type 80.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Nostalgia, dude.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, they need a remaster. Anyway, moving on. From Copper State Models, we're getting 2 30-scale figures. We are getting the first French air ace, Jean-Marie. That's all 4 of his name. No, fuck it. And also a French airman jumping from a Newport 11, although you could probably use that for a Newport 11, 15, 17, 24, any really. But they look really good, but knowing Copper State Model, they're probably worth about $30 each.
Yeah, they're usually run about $20 here.
Yeah,
for the 35s.
Yeah, just give it a minute.
We got to give it a couple of months.
Yeah.
Give it 2 weeks.
Up next from IBG, we are getting in 48 scale a PZL M18 Dromedar. This is a agricultural spraying aircraft, quite well known within Poland. It does look really cool. I will say, Garrison, you know what you could do with this?
A lot.
Well,
Yep.
So many rocket pods.
well, that's what I'm saying. A couple of gun pods, a couple of rocket pods, and you have an HIDF warden.
Dude, on God.
Also, it's just such a goofy looking aircraft. I just want one anyway.
Just fill it full of fertilizer and make it a Ukraine drone.
Just leave it as is and make it the HIDF Chemical Warfare Department.
I was going to say, I'm sure the HIDF probably purchased a whole bunch of Agent Orange.
Yeah.
Right?
Of course, it works so well in Nam. Why wouldn't
Yeah.
they?
Yeah, totally. But anyway, this looks really detailed, and I bet these things would be a bitch and a half to make.
That better be brass wire.
You'd want it to be. Up next from ICM, they're bringing out a combined kit. We have an AH-1G Cobra and with M8A1 US landing mat with it in 48 scale. So
Nice.
It's pretty cool.
Diorama ready.
Yep. Limited edition.
Why?
Limited edition as well. They are only making 1,000 of these kits.
Oh, God.
So you'll never see one in your life.
Make
Nope.
a Huey.
Thank
Please.
you. Yes,
Some
In
please.
35th scale.
In 35th, yes.
In any scale.
Oh,
Right?
go back. Oh, yeah,
Up next, we've got two from Hobby Boss. We have an IDF Namer 1 IFV and a BMD 1P.
Waz, I mean, he doesn't do 35th usually. But Waz would love the BMD 1P, and I want both.
I could pass
Yeah.
on both, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck you. The Namer is used in Armor 3, so you could do an Armor 3 diorama, because fuck the IDF.
From Ryfield Model, we're getting a Panzerkampfwagen
Who cares?
King Tiger
Whoopie-doo.
with the Henschel turret. This is the standard version. It comes with movable torsion bar, quick assembly mirror tracks, movable interior set of artillery, disassembled drive wheels, 4 types of teeth plates. Also comes with a free metal barrel with 3D printed muzzle brakes for the first batch of pre-sales.
Did you say a free metal barrel?
Yes.
Yep.
And
Now, I
3D
ordered
printed
this
muzzle
kit,
brake.
and it's really nice.
You're
I
paying
purchased the
for it.
upgraded version, but they sent me this one instead. But I only paid $24 for it. So
Really?
Oh, this is the one you got off Alley.
Huh.
it's a nice kit.
See, when I say my fucking, what do you call it? Ravel, fucking, not Panther, goddamn, I can't think.
Leopard.
Thank you. My leopard is nice. Y'all chastise me, but Clint says his $24 AliExpress King Tiger is nice, and you all fucking slob on the knob of Ali and RFM.
Don't
It's
rope
an
me into this
RFM.
shit. It's a fucking Tiger. It's crap by default.
Laughs in superiority.
Moving on with RT Diorama, we have a Beachhead Defense
Ooh.
diorama base, detailed plaster diorama base. Comes with a Type 95 Hargo buried in the ground as a bunker. High quality plaster and 3D parts. So
Interesting.
That's interesting. yeah.
RT Diorama does a lot of really good looking diorama bases.
I'm not going to lie, though. That looks like a bunch of aquarium plants that they have just kind of stuck in there.
yeah, I wouldn't
Yeah.
include those, but I would include. But having the 95 there is pretty cool. Like they've even put a canvas over the rear, the backward facing type. I want to say it's an 89, but I'm probably wrong.
The machine gun.
Yeah, whatever. Looks cool though.
Does look cool.
From Clearprop in their UAV series, they're bringing out an MQ-1C UAV. This is the Reaper? No,
Yeah, Reaper.
1/72nd scale, still be pretty large if you're into that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Back on with their Blitz Super range, they're bringing out a Panther Alf's G late production. Brand new tooling for these in 35th scale.
I want one so bad.
I'm not been too big of a fan of the Blitz kits.
Yeah. From TACOM as well in 350 scale, a Project 658M SSBN, a submarine. So, yeah,
Russian?
Boo.
Don't know. Kind of looks
Yes.
a bit Russian.
I'm about to say it looks Russian.
Must be Russian. It's got fucking windows.
Yeah.
These two I am quite interested in. From HK Models, we are getting in 48 scale an A20B and C early of the what is the A20? Invader or Boston?
Invader, I believe.
Yeah, Boston was the British designation for it.
No,
The
that's
Invader
26
was the
Invader.
A26.
Oh, that's right. So the A20B and C
That's
Boston.
the A20 is the Havoc.
That's right. Yeah, fucking Havoc. I just know it as the Boston because it's the British version, and Commonwealth. And also, they are bringing out a PBJ 1J Mitchell in 48 scale as well. This one is the main modifications, of course, is the wingtip fuel tanks, and it carries 8 Tiny Tim rockets, which are massive.
And, Navy.
That as well. And also blue. I like it. I really want them.
Very
Full
nifty.
interior detail as well. So, very cool. These both look like really cool kits because actually you can see just off the photo of this one, you can see the interior for the Havoc right there. Full interior for it. Very cool. And that's it for now. We're going to move on to our works in progress, starting off with Don.
Woo! So this was my summer of pain that has continued into a winter of pain. So this is the Legend Productions ADATS conversion kit for the M113. The ADATS, for anyone who doesn't know, was another Canadian Defence Procurement Complete cockabout, where we had a really great idea to take some I think they're made by Kongsberg, so Norwegian, dual-purpose anti-air, anti-armor missiles, stick a really good guidance package with thermal and video and radar and everything on it, slap it onto, or have the ability to slap it onto basically any vehicle you want, including a independent, fixed ground mount. And then we decided to pork barrel the shit out of it by demanding that the factory be built in Quebec on land that was owned by a government minister and ended up only building 36 of them, couldn't sell them to anyone, and then they sat in storage for 25 years before we got rid of them. So, yeah.
Sounds about right.
It looks pretty good, though.
But it looks really, really cool. The conversion kit itself, it was okay. The casting quality, most of it is great. Legend stuff is always really good. But you can see from a couple of the pictures the flat flip-up sides, whatever we want to call them.
Duckboards.
There's some warp.
I don't know.
Yeah, there's some warpage issues, and the kit is based on the Academy 113A3, which is what they recommend you use, but the dimensions that they give you to cut away the original model to fit these pieces don't reflect reality at all. So there was a lot of fucking about to get things together, but it's actually starting to look pretty good. And then the bottom right there, I'm experimenting with the idea of some reflective stuff where the periscope lenses and things should be, but we'll see how that goes.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very nice, very nice.
You've done a great job weathering, just saying.
Thank you. And the only reason I ever built this thing is because I got the entire kit plus the donor kit for $60, because just the conversion alone usually runs about 100 retail, and I would not pay for that.
Oy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a bit spicy.
It is a lot.
Ooh.
And then this, my Sexton.
Hey, the
This
bogies
was
are the
another-
right way around.
Yeah, finally. Was it last time I was on here I got called out for this? Yeah. Okay.
I
Well,
called you out on it.
Yeah. No, I remember. So there's been some progress. Um, this is actually all but finished now. I'm still toying with the idea of an excessive amount of camouflage netting, but I can't bring myself to sit down and actually make it. So we'll see whatever happens. At the end of the day, it's actually a decent kit.
It's looking pretty damn fine as well.
Yeah.
Especially the stowage. I like the
Agreed.
stowage there.
Thank you.
Everything about it looks good. I love the colors and the camo pattern.
And then, real quick, I got brave and painted something yellow.
Oof.
It went better than I thought. It's the Hobby Crap Expediter. I basically built it just to see if I could paint something yellow. It's in a semi-fictional British Commonwealth Air Training Plan paint scheme. But I have to say, pink primer. It worked like a charm. That's only, I think, 2 coats of yellow over top of the primer.
Really?
Huh.
Yeah,
Damn.
it's fantastic. And then the boys have been working away on some Gundams lately, so I decided to throw those up. It's actually my youngest put together the one at the top, including that entire base.
Nice.
Nice. Very cool.
I helped him out with a little bit of the masking and stuff, but he was in there with the airbrush and everything. It's pretty cool. I'm impressed.
Bringing them up right. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay. This is the D-Day Miniatures 135th dog-drawn machine gun cart. The cart, I think last week I shared the pictures that I scratch built it since the resin one was completely warped in every direction. So I got it all painted up, and I started painting on the doggo. I'm not really sure what kind of dog it is, but he's a good dog.
He's a puppers.
My brain knows the answer to this, and I think they are literally called Belgian cart dogs.
Well, there you go. And a friend of mine, he has, well, he had to put him down a couple years ago, but he had an Anatolian Shepherd, which is a
Ooh.
huge fucking work dog.
They are
so,
huge.
Yeah. You can only imagine how big this dog would be if it was carrying a fucking machine gun.
Yeah. So
Bro
I
is
kind of
yoked.
painted him up to look like his dog Cash. So
That's cool.
Yeah.
It's a very cool looking cart as well. When are you going to start on the machine gun?
I got the parts cleaned up for it. I just need to put it together, and I was able to unwarp the barrel on it. So that's a
good.
plus.
Oh, nice.
Very nice indeed, Mr. Oh, that's sex.
And this is the figures. They are almost done. Which, yes, when I started painting, I realized that I left a seam on his hand, and I'm just gonna leave it. Sione said something about wrapping, like, make it look like a wound, so wrap a bandage around his hand. So I might do that.
Bro just has big veins, dude. What are you talking about?
Oh yeah. So, but otherwise, I'm really happy with the way my painting has came out on these.
Yeah,
Dude,
that
it
blue
looks
looks
fucking
great.
fucking
beautiful.
good.
Thank you.
Okay.
Ooh.
This is
Very
my
nice.
Japanese destroyer, the Shiratsuyu, as part of the harbor diorama. So the Shiratsuyu is finally finished. Got the rigging done, and that took me quite a while and a lot of headaches. But I think they look better with rigging, even though you can barely see it.
Definitely.
So now that that's finished, now I can start working on the actual base and doing all the details and stuff. But I'm not going to be doing that for a while because I will be in Canberra next week for the Scale ECT. So I'll be hanging out with Nick, Scale Armorer, and a bunch of those guys. Probably getting absolutely blind drunk, spending way too much money on models, and having a generally good time.
I was about to say that sounds
Excellent.
like a good time to me. Shit.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I am so looking forward to it. I'm taking a full week, so I'm spending a week in Canberra. So because so you got the Australian Memorial Museum there, right? Which has got all the cool stuff like the A7V German tank and a whole lot of other tanks and aircraft stuff like that. But they have this one place called the Annex, which is their uber hyper rare stuff. You can't go in normally; you have to go as part of a tour group, right? And because there's going to be a whole bunch of military nerds turning up in Canberra, everyone's trying to get into the annex. So we were kind of fighting with a couple other groups to get a slot, and we managed to get it.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
So
Take a secret
so,
camera.
so on the Friday, I'm going to be taking a shit ton of photos because they have stuff like a V2 rocket with its travel trailer,
Cool.
an ME-163 Comet, an ME-262, a Gallipoli landing craft,
Ooh.
um, one of the guns from the SMS Emden cruiser, World War One German cruiser, a whole bunch of Japanese aircraft, a Hargo light tank, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So I don't really know what's fully there, but don't worry, I will take a shit ton of photos for you guys.
Hell yeah.
Excellent.
That's going to be so cool. So we're doing that so I turn up on the Thursday, we do that on the Friday, Saturday, Sunday is the show. Monday is a designated recovery day for me in the hostel, and then Tuesday and Wednesday I'm hanging out with family. So I got family in Canberra. One of them being my great uncle Bill, who was in Vietnam during the war. He was in the Australian Parachute Regiment, so he parachuted into Nam.
Nice.
And apparently he's got about 3 photo albums from his time there, so that's going to be really cool.
Ooh,
Bro, you,
stand
you
job.
should.
Many
he'll let
Geneva
you-
checklist stories.
What now?
I said he will have many Geneva checklist stories.
I already know one story that is a bit tragic of his that I won't repeat. I'll tell you guys after this. But it's pretty gnarly. But
Why you gotta go being like that?
pardon?
Just bringing things down, man. Just bringing things down.
I mean, it's the Vietnam War.
Embrace the war crimes.
There's not many good war stories coming out of Vietnam, to be honest.
No, fair.
But and then I fly back on the Thursday, like early Friday morning, like 12 a.m. or something. So I've taken Friday off work as well. So that gives me 10 days holiday, basically, which I desperately need right now. So
Nice.
Hell yeah, man.
Well, good shit, Callum. Looking forward to hearing about your time. And you said, how do you pronounce it? Cambridge?
Canberra.
Canberra.
Yeah.
Fuck!
Or if you're Australian, Canberra.
I just had my first fucking carpet monster loss.
We all warned you.
Ugh, where's your towel? I told you, build with a towel in your lap.
It's a fucking spring, too.
Oh, you're
God
done.
That could
damn
be
it.
anywhere.
Good luck.
Fuck!
Well, your
Okay,
house is now broken in.
Yeah. While Garrison spends the next 4 hours on his hands and knees.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
which
right.
is also his favorite sex position.
Possible. Don't tell them how you know. All right. I'm going to take a second. Okay. Well, I moved, finally. New model room. Here's some pictures of it. I'm currently in that orange chair, contemplating my life at the moment, because I just sprung a spring somewhere. I don't know where it's at. Besides that, things are great. Love this hobby space. Built the cabinet. You can see her there on the bottom right. That was a bitch. Clint was there for most of that. Yeah. Very excited to have the new hobby space.
You got some good lights above the workbench now.
Right? That's what I'm
ton
saying.
of lights in there.
It's very well lit. I'm gonna eventually change the bulbs out to not the yellowy lights, but like the nice, pretty white lights.
Daylights.
Yeah.
Daylights, thank you. Yeah.
And if any of our listeners failed the United States Marine Corps Scout Sniper course circa 2000 and what, Garrison?
20. I think it was early 22 because we were back from deployment.
There you go. So yeah, if you entered the selection process in 2022 and were unsuccessful, contact Garrison through the Discord, and
He will tell you why.
we may be able to enlighten you.
There's a nice, pretty cone back there. If you can read that, then yeah, fun times. But yeah,
Oh, what the fuck? Okay, I'm about to say. I thought it didn't
No,
upload.
no, it just
Okay.
needed to reload it.
Okay. Well, I'm currently working on my World War One entry for the group build. Obviously, you can't enter for a prize or anything, but I always try to build for the group builds we do. So this is the Ming FT-17 with ICM French infantry. Both kits are very well detailed, and I figured I would start with the tank. It's got a full interior, engine and all. Very nicely detailed tank. I have currently finished assembling the left side running gear. It's all put together and glued onto the tank. I'm working on the right side, which is not shown in the pictures, but lots of rivets. This is going to be a blast to weather and paint up. And my goal is to have it abandoned, partially submerged in a fucking blast crater with the infantry running by. So, fun times.
Very
Are you
cool.
gonna paint up the interior, or are you just gonna button it up?
No, I'm gonna have it open, so I have to paint it, and I'm gonna have it
Nice.
because like if you look on the top left and top right picture of the tank, you can see I've got the steering. I don't know what the fuck you call those. The steering
Control
levers.
tillers.
Tillers.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
With
The
giant seam
control.
lines in the middle of them.
Are there?
Yeah.
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 What the fuck, Jack?
Okay, fuckers. Fuck you.
Now the good news is they probably would have been cast iron. That could just be a casting line.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's yeah. So fuck yeah. See, yeah.
There you go.
Anyways, thank you, Dom. I'll probably go in there and fix that because I didn't even realize. But I have the tillers set up to where it looked like they were trying to turn, and I'm gonna have one of the tracks partially off the running gear.
Oh,
So that's gonna be
Ah,
cool.
yes.
storytelling. I
Uh,
like it.
Yeah.
Yes, and now especially since one of the springs just launched across my goddamn basement.
But that's
I
now determined which side is going to be damaged.
that's now determined. Which I gotta think about this because I may have to reposition the fucking tillers. God damn it. Fuck.
Now, how big of a spring are we talking? Can you
It's
scavenge one
tiny.
from an 8-pin, or
Well, you can see it there in the other picture, Clint.
oh, scavenge that from an ink
No,
pen?
that it's smaller than that. It's smaller than that.
Oh,
Oh.
does it go inside?
Here, I'll send you a picture.
Can you see it on the finished model?
Yes, unfortunately you can.
Ugh.
Well,
Yeah.
that's unfortunate.
Yeah, sounds like
Yeah.
you're screwed there, buddy.
Which I don't know. I may have like the side of it blown off or something, so it looks like it got hit and the spring's gone, and I can make it, or I can just submerge that side. I don't know.
I'd say pack it full of mud.
I'll think of something. I'm gonna try to look for the spring first, but if you check the Discord, the play is manual right now. It's sending, and you'll see the spring I'm talking about.
Oh,
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
Sucks to be you.
while you guys continue on, I'm gonna get on my hands and knees. Yeah. And start looking around. You know, you would think I found it. I fucking found it. Oh my god. Word of luck, boys. I honestly was not expecting to find that little thing.
If you shoot it off into space again, I might die.
I am about to CA glue it right now to the part it needs to go onto.
If he pings
So.
it now, I will actually have to like censor an episode for once.
You would have to, because I would scream some obscenities and then have to apologize to my wife for waking up my child.
I don't know. I think our excessive laughing would probably muffle it all out.
Alright, here we go. Hang on.
Please hold, listeners. This might be funny.
Got it. We're set.
Damn it.
Aw. Yeah, shit.
Aw.
Boring.
Is that an angle? Fuck.
Yeah, there's always next time.
Yeah. There's still one more spring to go.
Nope, that was the last one.
Damn it.
Yeah, shit.
Yes. Fuck you guys. I did
Ah,
it. Anyways. Whew, now that my heart attack's over with.
all right, continuing on, we have our book, movie, documentary, YouTube recommendations. This time, recommendations are from.
Me. I've just finished this book again for the second time, Panzer Ace, The Memoirs of an Iron Cross Panzer Commander by Richard von Rosen. Uh, very good book. He served in the post-war in the Bundes. Was
Bundeswehr.
it still? Yeah, was it still that the armor? Was that still called that in the armor divisions?
Not sure.
Maybe.
Either way, he
Post-war in the
served.
German army.
Yes, he also served post-war in the German army. But very good book. Goes into a lot of detail about command.
Losing the war.
Not really much of that. Sounds to me like he won the war.
Transmission maintenance.
Yeah.
How did you know?
He had a very good war experience, I guess you'd say. He enjoyed the war.
I bet he did.
Ah.
One of
These ones are
those.
mine.
Ooh, up next is
So-
Don.
2 books this week. First one that I actually read ages ago, but it caught my eye on the bookshelf tonight, is The Candy Bombers by Andrei Cherny. And as it says, it's an account of the Berlin airlift through the memories of one of the pilots, and then it sort of moves back to like a general overview of the entire airlift and what led to it and the ultimate outcome. But it's an incredibly well written book, and it's a story that I don't think a lot of people are actually all that familiar with.
I'm sure they're not.
So
No, I actually went to
highly.
the. Yep.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was going to say, I actually went when I was in Berlin. I went to they have a museum just for the airlift.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so
Is
they
it?
have one. They have one of the C-54.
Yep.
Yeah, they had one of those. They've got one of those parked out that was used during the operation as well. That you can have a
Oh,
look at, and
that's really cool. I didn't know that. So there you go.
yeah, go have a look at it. It's
Uh,
a good museum.
yeah. And then next on the list is the latest release, although I think it actually came out a year and a half, 2 years ago, from one of my favorite authors, Mark Silke, who is probably one of the preeminent Canadian military historians. And it's the Cinderella Campaign, which is the story of 1st Canadian Army moving up from the Normandy beaches up in towards the Netherlands and their responsibility for clearing out the Channel ports.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, if anyone hasn't read any of Mark's stuff, he does an excellent job of sourcing like primary source material and a lot of veteran interviews and testimonies. So it's not a dry sort of academic account. They're very personal and very involved. So highly recommend.
Okay, so we're going to bring in a brand new short segment here, promoting hobby stores within our respective countries and all of that. And this week, model store of the week is Franklin Hobbies down in Pocono, down here in New Zealand. The owner, Jason, really cool guy. He's involved heavily with the IPMS Auckland Club, and he stocks a lot of really cool stuff, including induction plates and lights. So if you want to wire up, say, a like headlights in a Jeep or something like that, instead of having to put wires and stuff like that, you just install these lights with an induction coil on it, and you put the induction plate in the base, and it makes them turn on, and they look really cool. So he stocks all that kind of stuff. Uber friendly guy, very helpful. Franklin Hobbies as well, really well stocked with a whole bunch of cool stuff. They're just down in Pocono. They're mainly an online store, but you can go and pick stuff up from him. because Pocono is a really cool small town. Like it's about 40 minutes outside of the city center of Auckland. And I remember when I drove through Pocono to go down to a model show in Hamilton. My ex was with me, and Pocono is just a small little upcoming town. And she said, "Well, it's like, why would anyone want to live down in Pocono?" And I said to her, like, "Well, you have the Pocono ice cream factory, you have Pocono whiskey, Pocono bacon, and Franklin Hobbies in Pocono. I could happily live in Pocono."
Sign me up.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
ice cream, bacon, whiskey, and models. What more do you need?
The boys are moving to Pocono.
Yeah, but especially for any New Zealand listeners, help out Jason. Check out his website, Franklin Hobbies. Really cool guy, really cool store, really well stocked. So big shout out, Garrison.
All right, ladies and gents, we are currently in the World War One group build timeline ending October. I've sent you the new one. Have I sent you the new one?
Probably. I was lazy.
Okay. Well, October 1st to February 1st.
Although we've
We're
changed
running.
that to March 1st, haven't we?
Oh, yes, we did. Yes. So October to March, we're running a World War One group build. There's one prize, and it's the last group build we're running with this prize, which is 60 USD worth of model
It's
kits.
about 40, I think.
We'll have to double check because
Yeah.
I think we made this group build before we switched the rules.
Yeah. Anyway,
But it's the last. Yeah, it's a really right now. I think so far it's our biggest group build with entries. Not finished entries yet, but people who say they want to enter.
yeah, I think we're sitting at around 25.
Oh, nice.
Which is quite good.
Yeah.
So if you want to enter, whether it's for recreation or for a chance at the prize, go ahead, jump on the Discord, message us, on one of the platforms below, and find your way and build something for the group build. Come join the fun and have a good time.
And if you aren't a Discord person, we also have the Facebook page, the Micro Machines podcast Facebook. For our group builds as well, we have an Instagram account just for that, the MMP group builds. So just search up that and follow the account. You can message it with submissions and stuff like that, questions. We try and post things regularly, like what other people are been building and inspiration posts for what you can build for First World War. And this is just our general group builds page. So when we start a new group build, there'll be a new design to things, but we'll just keep all the posts from the original just so you can have something to look back through. But definitely join that.
Memories.
Well, we have come to the end of the episode, which means we need to thank our Patreon supporters. Our Pinju supporters, Paul Gallagher, Lord Floki, Robert Judson, Burrell Misteroni, and Liam Barnett, as well as our Pinju follower, Robin Brisbane. You guys are absolutely awesome for helping out with the podcast. So big shout out to you guys. Right. That is the end of the episode. Do you guys have any more thoughts, anything else you want to bring up before we close out?
Hope you all
Nope.
enjoyed.
Nope. We're good.
Yep, that's fine. Yep, cool. All right, so you have been watching and listening to the Micro Machines podcast. We thank you for joining in and listening to and watching our content. We also say sorry as well. We will be back with another topic or a live stream, whatever we feel like it. But until then, we will say bye for now.
Bye.